One final series here for WCS Valencia, day number 2, to determine who is going to be moving through into the round of 8, as we have a Terran and a Zerg left. We have plenty of Zergs already over in the round of 8, doing very well for themselves. I'm joined by Rotterdam and In Control here, who have just cast a phenomenal Protoss versus Protoss, and seeing Neve just barely being able to squeak past there, and Pro doing well.
Yeah, but enough about Neve. How is our commentary?
It's pretty good. I listened to all of it, actually.
You what?
I listened to all of it.
That doesn't happen very often, does it, James?
Yeah, it does actually. I watch a lot.
Ah, okay. Just kidding. You know, I just had to ask Neep, by the way, about that game 4 on Proxima. I was like, did you see that second probe leave? Because you actually saw it. He's like, I saw that. I was like, yeah, your probe saw it. He's like, no, I didn't see it. I just went for one gate fast expand. So he's like, I know defensive robot. So it worked out for Neep. He didn't do it on purpose, but you know, in the end, very fun series though. Really enjoyed it.
Other than that, Jeff, got a fantastic series coming up in SpeCial, who's looked good throughout 2017 WCS.
He's looked very good. I don't see how he could possibly lose this match because he has to play against Neve in the round of 8. It's apparently WCS tradition. It's happened in Austin. Yeah. It happened at Jönköping, and now it's got to happen here.
Well, I think Smix is already ready here as we welcome our 2 players onto the stage. Smix, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing well, guys. It's been a long day, but now it is finally time for our final round of 16 match of the day. Can our Mexican Terran get a 3rd rematch against Neeb, or will the Swedish Zerg take that responsibility off of his shoulders? For our last match of the day, guys, it is SpeCial versus Zanster.
Getting into it here, Zanster against SpeCial, and Rotterdam overall, you know, I think that there's many, many times that we've looked back into the history of StarCraft 2 and we've said, you know, SpeCial, Major, Windy, Brittany, whatever her name has gone by at the time, there's been a lot. We've said, is this his year? And usually it's not his year, but actually this one is not looking too bad for SpeCial right now.
No, he's been very consistent. He's been looking incredibly good. A lot of people picked him to perhaps win this entire event as well. It's absolutely possible, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's focus a little bit on Zanster as well. Obviously, SpeCial's having a great year. He's high up in the WCS rankings. I think he's already kind of done his job here. He's secured enough points. He's in the top 4. He's looking absolutely on track to secure one of those slots at the global finals at the end of the year for the WCS region. Zanster, on the other end, some people might think like, wow, this must be the first time ever Zanster is playing on a stage this big or a match that matters that much. He was great in Krakow, if you guys remember that, right? Yeah. Like, he made it into the quarterfinals, and he looked on fire back then. That was one of the very last tournaments we had in Heart of the Swarm back then. And I kind of expected big things of Zanster in Legacy. It seems like it's taken a little while, but lately he's been looking a lot stronger as well.
That was the quarterfinal against, semi-final against Mana, right? Was it?
Well, I think it was a quarterfinal. I think semi-finals was Terran against Protoss.
Ah, it may have been, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
What are you looking at, Jeff?
Might have been the round of 16. If I,
no.
It was absolutely not the round of 16.
You know what? There's just so much StarCraft up here that I can't remember exactly.
But yeah, Zanster has been a shining player for Zerg in the European scene. But the problem for him, Jeff, is that there is so many amazing Zergs in the European scene.
The European scene is just jam-packed with talent. It's been really nice this year because Cham and SpeCial, Kalizer, some people really representing South America and Central America and doing really well that way. Neeb, of course. So it's been much more diverse, but Zanster has, I feel like, always been outshined by your Nurchios, your Lasers, kind of the bigger name Zergs. But I'll tell you what, and this is what I really like about WCS, you hear me say it a lot, beating SpeCial here, disrupting the Matrix, if you will, interrupting the Neeb SpeCial rematch, would be one of those ways to be like, Zanster, senpais recognize you.
Is it a possibility? Zanster did drop a map to Arctur in the group stage. Admittedly, did win and was victorious moving forwards, but SpeCial's a whole other beast.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I think SpeCial is the favorite here for a lot of people going in, just keeping a close eye on the maps. But Defenders landing and Blood Boil being vetoed, I guess that's not too shocking either way. I mean, SpeCial is definitely the Terran on fire. He's been the strongest Terran together with Kalizer in the WCS circuit throughout, you know, the first 2 events we've seen, and this event as well. But I think it is possible. Zanster is one of these mysteries we have in the European scene, who has, you know, he can go invisible for a while, he can be incredibly inconsistent, but his highs sometimes are very high. I just checked, by the way, it was indeed semi-final, even against, not Mana, but not Mana though, it was against Lil Bao, it was 2-3. So he has been on the big stage before, he has made, you know, a phenomenal tournament run in the past. This would be a great step for Zanster, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna do it. What I do think though, sometimes when you have these best of fives, you're looking at SpeCial, every now and then he suddenly throws in like a very weird build, right? You're gonna be like
Thor drop.
Thor drops, beat Banshees, and then like suddenly it doesn't work. I think he has to be careful that he doesn't get too carried away, because Zanster is very strong.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right, I think we're ready to go over to our players as they're ready to get this best of 5 on the way. So without further ado, our final series here of day number 2 for WCS Valencia.
And the quest for glory begins as we get into our last match of the night. Todd, it's going to be SpeCial versus Zanster. I love that the boys brought it up on the desk. SpeCial has been tied in a bit of a battle with fate, as it were, to go up against Neeb and get thrashed every tournament this year. Can he break the cycle? Can he escape this timeline?
Hopefully he can. Glad to see you're so awake here for this last match, by the way. I can feel like you're going to bring the hype.
Just flipping a switch, Todd. Flipping a switch.
Yeah. Almost like a, you know, a robot.
What can I say? I got the voice pack lines as well. I'm ready to just spit those.
Yeah.
If I run out of things to say.
You're going to spit that fire?
No worries.
For free?
It's called a sampler. Yeah, it's called a demo.
All right. Yeah, exciting matchup here between these two. I think SpeCial is very confident going to this. I had the chance to chat with him about it, and he was telling me that he knows about Zanster, the fact that he plays Ling, Bane, Muta, or at least he did in his previous matches here against Terran in this tournament, and he has a pretty clear idea on how to counter.
I want to see what kind of craziness our Terran player pulls out, but it is time to begin our final best of 5, spawning in the top right position of Sequencer. We have the blue Zerg player. Give it up for Zanster. And his opponent in the southwest position, the red Terran player coming all the way from Mexico. He is SpeCial.
Been training really hard, that guy, and it's really shown. It's, I would say so far, this entire season of WCS, one of the top performers. Currently actually sitting in the 4th place in the circuit standings, which is extremely high. If at the top of the year you would have told me that he was going to be in the 4th place going to our 3rd circuit event, I would have said like, that's possible, but not necessarily that likely. It's very impressive to be so high up there.
It's happened so many times that we talk about how good SpeCial is and, you know, his potential, the players he practices with, his dedication. But he was not a player that actually delivered in serious ways with that. You know, the most that it would end up being, you know, like Roddy and I'd be casting WCS America and he'd take a series off Tasia, but then he'd lose in the rematch every time, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that was SpeCial's destiny. And he has really cranked it up this year. We talked about the, you know, the GSL performance and all of that jazz, but in these tournaments where it really counts for him to make it to the global playoffs, he has been delivering. In this game, well, we're going to see him copying probably one of the most infamous strategies right now that top Korean players still use, and that's building a whole lot of Reapers.
Yeah, a whole lot of Reapers, but not as an all-in, just as a pressure to try and do some damage, force units out of there, keep them on low econ, and in the meantime, you get your own second command center, you build up your economy, then you go into medivacs. That's been the main thing. You don't even need to go for a very quick third.
Your sense of humor is greatly improved, Todd, because you just implied it's possible for this 3-Rax Reaper to be an all-in. the ability to follow this up is what makes it so dangerous and really frustrating. A lot of players have been complaining about this. I think it's been a hot topic out there. It's very, very difficult to deal with this.
They've been complaining about it with memes, so if that makes it any better.
As a Terran player, I personally hate the 3-Rax Reaper builds. They are incredibly powerful. We're going to see him bring this first bit of pressure to Zanster. Thankfully for him, I guess Sequencer is a bit of a longer map, so the Reapers running across won't get there super fast. But there's a lot of cliff space to work with. You can jump straight up, back and down from that main of the natural very easily. You can pop down to the third of that other hatchery is under construction.
And with speed on the way here, I think Zanster is hoping to shut that out eventually. It's always a hard decision though, because if you go for links and then you miss your shots, those KDA charges, they can blow up everything, and then you're in a lot of trouble. Obviously, you will have lost the game pretty much instantly. At this point, the Queen's going to be on the threat, and he's actually going to go down here.
This quick third hatch, the low Queen count has made things very dicey for him. Now with speed finishing, he's got a lot of links coming in. And this is the part where if SpeCial transforms into Bjorn, his final form of Terran Death, he could kill all of these Zerglings and win the game right now, but I don't quite know that SpeCial is that Korean god tier Reaper microer just yet, but he has not gotten surrounded by the Lings. He's still throwing those grenades out one at a time. Patience is key when you play this strategy and you want to get really, really far ahead, because behind this, he's going to be cranking out those command centers and things to keep an eye on. That worker count, he wants to just thrust himself forward ahead in workers and force out as many Lings as he can from Zanster.
Yeah, so far so good, I would say, from SpeCial. He's put in some serious work. He hasn't lost a single unit just yet. Doing a very good job of pulling back the injured Reapers every single time.
It's very
from there, like if he can boost his economy and keep up with the Zerg player on the walker counts, with that triple orbital, once it comes into play, you're gonna get a lot of units out, and that's when the real attacks come into play as well.
That's why this build's so popular, Todd. You hit the nail on the head. He can continue to boost his economy. He hasn't lost any of his Reapers. And Zanster, at any point, if he gets caught off guard by this or he missed micros, the Reapers, despite the fact that they haven't really done any crazy damage so far this game, still give you that insane value by just having their presence on the map. It's one of the reasons why this strategy is so strong and so popular in the current metagame, because behind it, he's going for stim. He's got his reactors up on those barracks at the front. His wall's already done. He's going to be on 3 bases, and it's going to come down to that next phase where the stim Marines are just flying across the map in those medevacs.
I love the mind games here, by the way. Like SpeCial, he took that watchtower on the left-hand side for a second, and Zanster showed that all his Lings were there, chasing that Reaper away. So SpeCial was going to threaten across the map. Zanster immediately realized that and moved back all of his Lings home. And not going to be able to do enough here with those just pure Lings. Again, KDA charge here, a huge threat that can do so much and blow up the entire Zerg army instantly.
Playing around that cliff. Playing around the cliff is very important. The Lings are going to try to come in on him. He gets a shot that hits actually most of his own Reapers. He's going to lose 2 of them, it looks like there. Pops back up. Playing around very heavily with those grenades. Of course, you can kill the creep tumors if he kind of gets an idea of where they are positioned. You can kill them with the grenades without having vision. So they have utility beyond poking and harassing and actually killing drones or Lings. You can deny the creep spread as well.
Yeah, the creep spread is actually pretty good here so far, I have to say, from Zanster here, almost reaching the entire upper part of the map here. He's been putting a lot of work into this, and it's going to come in handy later on when he starts getting attacked more and more through grounds. And obviously, the air will have to be covered by the overlords that would spot those medivacs then. And this is what SpeCial expected going into this. He did watch the VODs of Zanster playing against Arthur earlier in the tournament, and he saw that it was Ling Bane Muda every single time. Like some Zergs, they go for roaches, they play very differently. We saw Hydralisks coming into play as well, but not from Zanster. And SpeCial, knowing that, I asked him, so what's the counter? You just go like pure Widow Mines? He's like, yeah. You get Widow Mines, and then you add some Thors as well from the other factories. So.
Yeah, Marine Mine is still very strong versus that Ling Bling muted composition, especially considering the armor buff that the Thor recently received. This is such a crazy thing. Having the Reapers in this situation makes engaging the Marines very difficult. If SpeCial controls his army properly, he can use the KD8 charge to keep the Banelings away from his forces. And don't forget, they have less health than the Lings. Those grenades are going to blow up those Banelings very quickly and increase the damage effectiveness of the Marines, because you won't even need to worry about splitting them as much in that position.
What do you think about the strength of KDA charge?
Well, I think I already said I'm not a huge fan of Reapers, Todd. I like the knockback. I think it's fun, but the damage is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. The balance team has been posting about it, been talking about it.
Centrifugal hooks on the way now for Zanster. He's actually behind in supply. Every time I see a Zerg behind the supply against anybody, even when they're not playing roaches, I'm like, I feel like something's wrong. Something's going bad here right now.
He's behind on workers, behind on that supply. He's going to crank up the drones now, but this is still a good spot. Now, let's see. SpeCial doesn't have medevacs with these Marines just yet, so you have to be extremely cautious. There is no exit strategy because he's also going to drop this double drop in the main base. By the way, SpeCial's Marine production has been off his house. He's got so much to work with right now. There's the drop inside of the main. He could have tried to move those forces ahead of the creep towards the third, but he's going to pull back just a bit. Okay, he wanted to wait for the medevacs. That makes sense. That's fair. And I want to see him use that KD8 charge. That's probably the one place I'd really like to see it used in actual fights, but we never really do. We never see Reapers really used effectively with the army like this. And
Zanster's getting overwhelmed here. He's being attacked in multiple places.
He's
and
just about out of Banes, too.
Hey, he's having a lot of trouble splitting his units properly here. The fourth base, that pocket expansion here, is going to be on the threads. And SpeCial is just going to keep on yo-yoing between the main base and fourth base.
Oh, he attacked the Baneling cocoons. Oh, one of them just barely finishes and blows up all the Marines. That would have been really awesome if he hadn't taken that last hit. But the Spire is going to finish. He's gotten some great pressure on, killed a good few drones. But as the mutas come out, if he can actually build any at this point, he should be able to swat these medevacs away.
Yeah, huge supply leader for SpeCial, who's going to keep on applying a ton of pressure. Marines here in a great position to deal with the Zerglings, are going to get rid of all of them. And Zanster is barely holding on from the skin of his teeth. But I don't feel like he's going to be able to do this for much longer if SpeCial keeps on applying the same pressure.
He got that quick third hatchery up, but the Reaper pressure was insane. And as these Widow Mines come up, they're going to lock this position down and help secure it. Or not. I guess he just ate pavement from a few of those Banelings. But he now has the Marines inside of the third base, mostly uncontested, picks off the Queen, forces the drones away, and the mutas are preoccupied otherwise in the main base.
SpeCial is...
Oh, that choke.
Running him ragged, as Kailas will say. Pulling Zanster out of position all over the place, and he just has too much. Even when he gets pushed back, he gets the trades beforehand and keeps on pulling further and further ahead here.
Yeah, this game has been 100% SpeCial in the driver's seat. He has been blasting him back. He has the Widow Mines stretching out across the map. And he's got his 2-2 on the way. It's not forgetting to do any of the things that he needs to do. His minerals, his gas are not floating very highly. 2-2 is done for Zanster.
So
we'll give him a good window.
Make yourself at home. SpeCial, mi casa es tu casa.
Yeah. I'm showing up, and I ain't leaving anytime soon. The Thor that you mentioned earlier, he's going to start to mix those in. He's got that fourth base planted down with the planetary. His 2-2 is actually pretty significantly far behind Zanster's. So that is basically like what gives him that opportunity to get a lot of work done. And he will rely a bit more on the Widow Mines now to get some big shots off. It'd be a lot harder to break down that Ling Bling army.
We dodged the friendly fire here at the last second.
Rip.
SpeCial still a decent bit ahead here. Supply-wise, getting drilling claws, 2-2 on the way. That one Thor is going to change everything, isn't it?
Drilling claws and being able to make a ton of Widow Mines at once is going to do it. Although that's what the Thor armor does make for a great buffer. I feel like the mine count is the only thing that's a little bit dicey at the moment. A bit of a Ling Muta counter. They're going to run across.
Look at the production tab here for a second. I feel like it's all SpeCial right now. He's getting 12 different things at once. The Thor will be caught across the map. So much for changing everything. Zanster is trying to make something happen here. I like this.
He's forcing SpeCial to commit right now with his army across the map. He's like, well, you got to try to do something. The Widow Mines are going to splash some of the mutas and the Zerglings. However, there's still a lot of Ling Bane, and his army gets completely swallowed up. Only one medevac looks like was able to load up with those forces. Zanster now has the opportunity to go for this counterattack. His wall has been busted open, but SpeCial goes for the drop on the right side. Widow Mine's going to burrow. That upgrade disadvantage, man, those Lings rip those Marines to pieces.
Yeah, so many STVs have died here. Zanster is actually taking a supply lead here somehow. After holding on for so long, that one drop over there needs to get shut down. SpeCial dropping all over the place with just a single medivac and a ton of Marines.
And he's bringing everything else back. He does get a cancel on that right side expansion. He killed 8 drones, but still 61 to 49. And the mutas, very smartly, he comes back. He's like, I want these medevacs. This would be a huge win to clean up all of these. I'll take that. He does still have a couple Marines up on the right side. I mean, killing that base would be really nice as well. Having the Thor mixed in is good. He has drilling claws. And I'd like to point out, because of the nature of this style, we don't see that 3-3. We don't see that hive play coming out of Zanster. So now the upgrades are even, the tides begin to turn. The fights will be a lot closer thanks to the Marines being able to kill the Zerglings. And +3 is on the way, which is where things get really difficult for a Zerg player, as we all know. And some cheeky mine shots onto these drones.
Yeah, Zanster, he did make something happen across the map, but for that he did take damage at home. Lots of Banelings are going to be morphing. He knows that there's going to be more incoming attacks here from SpeCial. There's not going to be any signs here of a hive, as you mentioned. Zanster can't really afford that here right now. He doesn't have the proper work account. 56 drones is not where you want to be there.
He's playing the so many Banelings strategy right now, and his goal is to utilize the creep spread to help cover his bases so that he can just spam those Banelings towards the Marines and just eat big armies and go for a counter to win. That's the aim here. And the best way to deal with that, of course, is just spread the mines out well enough that banelings can't just run into your mines and kill all of them. And
Merry Christmas.
Some great mine drops. So he's got 4 total, just spread out. Smacking drones.
So Zanster is across the map right now. Does he get desperate and then just attack?
Well, he's just chilling there right now. I mean, he's actually about a meter away from death.
Yeah, that Widow Mine was quite scary here.
So many mines scattered everywhere. It's so hard to deal with that.
Might be all the speed and momentum Special needs here to close this game out.
Yep, a very violent harass indeed. As he baits out a couple of more of these mines, but it's giving Special time to move in other directions. This mine in the natural, he has become the swarm infesting Zanster's base with all these mines because he cannot cure this plague of explosions in all of his mineral lines. And he blows up another 5 drones.
Yeah, Zanster, we need to have overseers all over the place here to finally defend against this Special, truly utilizing his speed to the maximum of its possibility there. And now he's going to be attacking on multiple fronts with more units than I think Zanster can handle, even though he does have a crazy amount of banelings right now.
Yeah, this is just getting actually a little bit painful to watch. He's going to try to swallow this army on the right side. We do only have like 1 or 2 Marauders in there. That Thor is there, though, to help lock it down. But there you go. Another big chunk of drones picked off. He's going for high-sec auto-tracking as his +3 attack is done, which means he will really start to rip apart this Ling Bane that is still at that 2-2 upgrade point.
We're getting fireworks here in this game from Special. You know, it's a big holiday today in France. It's Bastille Day. Fireworks and everything. Well, Special apparently is celebrating with us here. Widow mines all over the place. Gonna be blowing everything up.
Oh my God. And as this lifts up, oh geez, so many banelings. But he can't land the hits. He can't get what he needs. Finally cleans this up with the muted support, but he's still just dancing back and forth. He still has this huge drop on the right side. And back home, it's just mines, Marines, Marauders. I love that he's getting more upgrades for his vehicle because then those Thors, those Widow mines, more importantly the Thor, that 1 or 2 that he mixes in are going to be borderline unkillable. GG is called. Special hammers away at Zanster. That Reaper opening, slowing down the economy of the Zerg player to an extreme degree, following up with a bit of a shaky mid-game, Todd. I think the focus on upgrades for Zanster helped buy him a new lease on life. When he was 2-2 versus 1-1, it was very hard. And then as soon as the 2-2 equalized, and he had these drops and drilling claws all over the map, I mean, Zanster just couldn't keep up.
Hey, he was mostly surviving the entire game. That one counterattack was nice, but in the meantime, he started taking damage left and right, and from there, he was only downhill. Special, that was solid. That's what you expect here from him. He's, at this point...
extremely clean, very tactical, and standard as can be. This is what you see at the top level play. The Reapers are very powerful, and they are able to accomplish what they did, killing a handful of Lings, that Queen, but always having the potential to go for the Jugular and end the game if Zanster had made 1 or 2 more mistakes earlier on. So just great play, and it's very difficult when you're trying to micro units like that early across map. This is one of the reasons why that build doesn't work for every Terran against the Zergs, because it's very hard to have those Reapers out on the map and also get all of your production up back home, take those bases at the right timing, not missing your add-ons. But because Special's follow-up was so cleanly executed to the Reapers, Zanster just got smacked, because by the time he was finally able to deal with the Reapers, there was like 20 stim Marines right behind them to cancel that 4th base in the center, and he wasn't able to recover from that position outside of those upgrades that we mentioned. So Special looking very, very good after that first map. Going to be very tricky to see how Zanster can come back against that. I'd also like to point out, I still hope that Special busts out something a little more fun. I know that he does follow the top tier Koreans. Maybe we'll see some of that very aggressive battle mech that Gumiho is known for.
Yeah, he's one of those Terrans that's been known to bust out 1 or 2 mech builds here and there in the best of 5.
I want to see it.
Definitely very capable. Then again, do you want to risk it? I mean, I know it's a best of 5, but if you lose 1 or 2 games, then all of a sudden you might be in trouble.
Oh yeah, baby. I want to see it. We are loaded in to game number 2 here on Abyssal Reef. In the top left position, we have the blue Zerg player. He's trailing 0-1. He is Zanster. Definitely not a fan of Reapers after that game, I'd imagine. His opponent in the bottom right, the man who will do anything to win. He is our red Terran player. He is SpeCial.
If by anything you mean changing his ID a dozen of times, flying to Korea and training there.
Change his name. He has a, I think his hair looks better this year than last year, to be honest.
He'd give up his dog.
He's done that up
probably.
a bit. Yeah, yeah. Gave up his barber. He gave up his name. And he gave up his honor. He doesn't mind masking Reapers to kill people either.
Trust me, it's not nearly as dishonorable as playing Protoss.
That's true. It's not as bad as pylon rushing. Or what was
Who was
Ops
it
doing?
that-
Trying to build 8 pylons outside.
Who was it
on
that
Sequencer?
called Classic a dishonorable Protoss at this con? That was so funny.
I'll never forget that. That was the weird BlizzCon where Classic had like the ultimate counter to Pulse, like Nexus sniping. Good times. Good times. So
SpeCial with the way that first game went, like regardless of whether he opens with multiple barracks and mass Reapers, I think just playing a solid game, you know, that's always been the way he's done it, even though sometimes he's throwing in 1 or 2 proxies, that would be mostly against Protoss, or played mech at times. It's mostly been just standard play, solid, macro,
Past the
little
Reapers.
harassment here and there.
I agree, Todd. Past the Reapers, there was not a whole lot of trickery thrown in there. It was, I'm going to mass Marines, micro extremely well, and his macro was on point. He had a ton of army supply for a 3 racks opening, and he didn't get up to that 5th rack super fast, and he was able to get enough Marines to threaten the 4th base without the medevac support, and also make that medevac drop on the right side at the same time.
One of his only weaknesses, I would say, is maybe when he's maxed out, he doesn't necessarily micro his army always the best, and by that I mean, like, I'm comparing him with, like, the innovations, TY, Maru of the world right now.
That's a steep comparison to make.
Yeah, he's still pretty darn good with it, but maybe not as good as these guys.
Yeah, so differences in openings. It actually was a pull first this game out of Zanster. This speed is very quick. He's basically saying, screw you, I win for free if you go Reapers, or at least you hope so. But that's not the case this game. And SpeCial has opened up with a Reactor Hellion build. Rather than going straight for 3 barracks to rush out that stem, he's opening up with Hellions, he's getting the starport, and he is not using the barracks to build an add-on for the starport. So this could just be like a Hellion Viking opener. Maybe he goes for a medevac and gets Hellbats if he's building Marines at 1 at a time out of the rack. So they could be to support a little cheeky Hellbat push. But no, it's actually going to be probably a Widow Mine drop, I guess. If he's building 2 mines this fast. Yeah, there's the medevac. So he's going to try to do a little mine drop maybe with the Hellions. And behind this, he can start the tech lab on his barracks and get stim. So it doesn't look like it has to be a mech build.
Yeah, the Widow Mines last game did very well, so I guess he's going to bring them a little bit earlier this time around, and if Zanster is not ready...
If he never kills them and I drop them earlier, theoretically, they'll get more damage done.
Yeah.
Makes sense. The math is solid.
2 more Hellions on the way here behind this for SpeCial.
So drop the mines and run by the natural. Boom. Bada bing, bada
Game
bang.
over.
Game over. Kill everything. Bailing Nest
Get a
is starting
grip.
up. Yeah. Zanster's going to need to get a grip if he drops this game because he's going to be buried alive in Widow Mines that definitely plagued him in that first game. He's going to follow up with a Raven, too. I like this. It's an
I know you do.
interesting investment.
I've seen your games. Ravens into battle cruises.
It's really fun.
Soon to be seen here, maybe.
Maybe someday. So there's the mine drops, and he's going to get... Oh, I like that he actually splashed the 2 drones on the Queen. He's going to pick that up, move it away. Well, the Raven only strikes me curious because I would have assumed that he would start stem. His stem is extremely late now if he is going to be playing for bio build, which I still think he's going to play bio because he doesn't have the gas on his natural yet. But
3rd command center now starts. This may have been what he was saving up for. And he's going to get rid of the Overlord before starting an actual production, whether it's barracks
that's a good point.
or factories.
This Overlord actually does not know if he's playing for Mech or Bio yet because there's no indicator whatsoever. I think the natural gas can be a bit of an indicator, but the fact that he's opened up with this Raven strategy and has Hellions on the map can be very confusing for a Zerg. Since if you normally want to get stim out like as fast as possible, right? Why would he delay this so much? But it does look like, yep, it is going to be bio. The Lings do slip in right as the barracks begin to be built. So he's going to know. He is going to know. Wait, is he getting Corvid Reactor? But why? I'm going to assume to mess with the Lings. He's getting Raven Energy. Okay, no. All right. He's going to get Raven energy as he
canceled.
starts stim. That'd be really weird.
Yeah, that was a cancel. That was a mistake. Let's see this auto
It's the same
turrets.
hotkey as stim, by the way. Fast fact. There you go. Clicked on the wrong tech lab. 2 engineering bays are on the way behind this, though. So he'll be able to get all the upgrades rolling. The layers on the way. Everything looks good.
Why didn't he drop auto turrets? He's waiting for a second one, or was he spotted by the overlord?
I think the
okay, no, he was
strength
waiting for
here-
the second
Yeah.
Raven.
Well, think about it this way. Because of the way that he did this, dropping all 3 together, he actually killed all the lings and almost killed the queen, too. If you right-click on the larva, you can kill them with auto turrets as well. That's how strong they are. But look at this. Because the lings are dead, have fun dealing with these Hellions that are inside of your main base. That medevac allowed them to hop, skip, and jump over there. There's only a handful of Zerglings, so he can still chase down, grab these Zerglings, grab these drones. He's got 11 kills so far, and bit of a barbecue there, Todd. Spanish barbecue.
Yeah, and I think SpeCial needed that. If you look at the worker count, Zanster is still on 70 drones against 53. Imagine if he hadn't lost those 12 drones. He'd be on 82 then, and then SpeCial, that would be way worse for him. So he needed to make that happen. And I don't think he's going to be slowing anytime soon. Those Ravens, they're going to keep on dropping these auto turrets. And we already see a 4th base from SpeCial.
I would like to say, though, this is kind of like dealing with the Roddy Phoenix build, where sometimes the key is to just keep building drones, even if you're going to lose them, because the ability for SpeCial to do a big dedicated push has been off the table for a very long time because the opening delayed stim so much.
It was
so he doesn't have to worry about losing the game. He just has to bleed out a little bit against this harass, build up his army, and that's why he still has this huge worker lead, because it doesn't actually need to build units to deal with this.
What's the equivalent of the Roddy DTs then, that deny the 4th base usually?
Maybe like a, I don't know, a weird Hellbat push while the Ravens are dropping on you. I don't know. I gotta step up my Roddy knowledge.
I mean, it's hard, right? Imagine if Roddy played Terran. Definitely
That's
would
what
bring
I'm saying.
his own brand of StarCraft to it as
Todd,
well.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I've done this Raven strategy, killed 100 drones and still lost because I didn't actually have a push to kill the guy. He just kept building drones and losing them while he took base.
Against Bly, right? In Nation Wars.
That game actually was probably the less embarrassing one, to be honest. So 1-1's about to finish up. It is just about done for the Zerg. And this is something we rarely ever get to see, which is the Raven actually being used as that supporting unit to deal with the creep tumors. Very nice.
Yeah, I like that he didn't scan. I feel like a lot of Terrans, they have the Raven there.
Oh,
they
I still
scan anyway.
Same. Well, see, in this situation, the scan is so that he can see a little bit further. But yeah, it's just like reflex at this point.
And there's not even any Spore there to help against those Medivacs. So even though the Queens can attack them, it's just going to be an easy pickup for SpeCial and then getting out after, again, getting some good trades here.
Yep, being able to deal with the creep that way with the Raven is extremely nice. He's got those mules, mining and mining. He's got his 4th base set up at 8.5 minutes. He, drop a couple turrets. You've got your planetary fortress. You are good to go. What I want to see, Todd, is that transition into Widow Mines. I want to see Widow Mines added in. He's playing pretty much entirely with Bio. He has a few siege tanks, but against Ling Bane Muta, tanks are not the best. Just because you want to have that mobility to move out on the map. And the Widow Mines, especially based off of last game, well, they very clearly worked very well against Zanster.
SpeCial has killed 76 units and only lost 11 so far. He's doing pretty good with that. But now is going to be the time here where he needs to get the best cost-effective trades that he can against those Banix. Raven's actually going to fly a little bit too far forward here. He loses both of them before the fight even begins. But Banix, they were not ready just yet here, and Zanster needs that right now.
I like
Try and hold on.
I like the tanks on the low ground. Make a good point. He did try to throw the auto turret to snipe Baneling or two, or at least draw that aggro. But the Marines are going to pull back. The Mutas aren't really going for the siege tanks just yet. He left just enough Marines on top of the tanks to help defend against this, and the Banelings are going to try to come crash down, but they will all be cleaned up. I think there's just enough Marines to push these Mutas away. He wants to finish off the tank. If he focus fires and splits, there's not enough Banelings to clear this all out, unless he clumps.
Yeah, and Mulder at the front will be doing the tanking, pulling back just the Marines here for SpeCial. I think this is just going to be it here in game 2.
SpeCial on a roll. That parade push, crossing the map, destroying this expansion. More Banelings are on the way, but if the Marines step forward in time, they will be able to force a few more cancellations. He just needs to split. This is a decent number of Banes, but there's way too much more on the way behind this. And GG will be called. SpeCial goes up 2-0 against Zanster.
Didn't even break a sweat here. A 60 supply lead here as the second map ended. And he's just looking unstoppable so far in this matchup.
His macro is disgusting. His armies just look huge. He has so much to play with. He has so much out on the map. And I got to give him credit because it is very easy to lose sight of your overall strategy and your big push potential to actually win the game when you have a build that gives you stim at like 9 minutes. You really, really have to be very careful. The Raven Harass is great. It's fun. But in Zanster's head, he knows you can't kill me with this. It's not going to be 20 Ravens that snipe my lair. Like, that's not what's happening this game. You're going to kill drones. I can replace those. And that's why he was able to still kind of sprawl out on the map a bit. But I love the patience. I love the macro, the cleaning up of the creep, being very slow, not diving in too hard, and just very methodical play that SpeCial has brought.
His rhythm is great, I think, because if he didn't do just one of his little attacks that he did early on, and then, like I said, Zanster gets, 5, 10 more drones, it becomes a different game all of a sudden, because then all Zanster has to do is make units from that point, and he's in a much more comfortable position. So for SpeCial to be able to allow him, or rather not allow him to reach his ideal walk count for so long, just through all these great attacks, is definitely very impressive, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to look to keep on doing that. We're going to be playing on Proxima Station up next.
This is, without a doubt, one of the best maps to go for mech strategies against Zerg. If he was going to bust it out, this would be one of the maps that I would pick.
Keep hoping.
You have that very easy 3 base to hold on to. I mean, hey, man, the GSL champion did it. Someone else is going to do it eventually.
The GSL champion did a lot of things.
The GSL champion is a god.
Yeah.
I'm biggest Gumiho. Man, he's always been my favorite Korean player. You cheer for the guy that wins, which is usually Byun, but I like that battle cruiser build. Lots of Hellions. We've seen SpeCial do it before. It's not like it'd be a shocker to throw it out in a series when you're up 2-0. Maybe. Well, if I was going to be super blunt, I would say that if he goes for the fast third again, you could do like a ranged Liberator Rush, which is also like disgusting.
Into battle cruisers.
Of course. Well, the counter to that is to go Spire, so maybe not. But all right, we are loaded into what could be the final map of this series. This guy needs to win 3 games in a row to keep his tournament run alive. In the bottom left of Proxima Station, we have Zanster. He faces off against this Terran player who was looking about as smooth as we could have expected, getting ready to potentially fight against Neeb again. He is SpeCial.
Eyeing a rematch here up against Neeb, if you could get it.
Reminds me of Neeb's little mini legacy versus Hydra, where he got smacked by him multiple times in a row in offline events at the beginning of last WCS year, and then slowly climbing back, and he kind of flipped it over on the second half of the year. He flipped it over. He was beating Hydra consistently. Can SpeCial turn the tides if he's able to take this series and move forward? He's, like I said, if you guys missed the last 2 circuit events, he got smacked by Neeb. That was where he was knocked out of the tournament. That was a very difficult.
You think
match
3-2 is smack?
Well, I think losing feels like getting smacked, Todd. You've seen my stream. You've seen my anger. It's true. It doesn't feel good.
We all have our own different version of what getting smacked means.
Yeah.
For some people, it means a slap. For some others, it means a kiss. Maybe a bit of both sometimes.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Command Center starts up in the natural for SpeCial. He is opening up with what seems to be very standard Reaper Expand. There's no need usually to worry about something like 3-Rax Reaper on this map. This is arguably the worst map ever made for 3-Rax Reaper. The very limited amount of space you have to jump in. There's actually nowhere for a Reaper to jump down anywhere by the base as well if you're outside of that low ground expansion. The only cliffs on this map that a cliff walking unit can actually use, Todd, are the ones by the rocks outside like the 4th or 5th on like this right side area, or the very left of the map. Like, you can kind of like hoppish there. Like, that's it. You just don't, it's just not a thing. Not a thing on this map. And that very small lip by that supply depot. So the Overlord comes in and sees the reactor, the factory, and it's probably going to be a Hellion opening again.
And I wonder,
a lot of sense.
Are we going to see some adjustment maybe from Zanster? Because he tried to play it standard twice with Lingbane Muta, and it just didn't work out. He goes for quick upgrades. In the previous game, he actually died just before 2-2 was going to finish. So SpeCial put on so much pressure that Zanster couldn't even hold on this time around and just ended up falling apart before he even got the upgrades that he was trying to get to as quickly as possible.
It's a weird thing because when you play the Bling Bling Muta style and you focus very heavily on mass unit style, kind of like the way like I would say a guy like True plays, where he just you don't even think about the hive to a degree, that you need that 2-2 very quickly because you're never going to get 3-3 versus a Terran player that brings the heat on you all game. So that's supposed to be where you're able to carve out that advantage. And that's why that early harass helped so much. Well, if I were a Zerg player, I think I'd be a pessimist, just like the rest of them. He's going to open with the Viking. He's going to get Cloak behind it. So this tells me if he's actually going to get Cloak, that would be interesting. But I think what he's doing is he wants him to think he's going for a Banshee straight away. That's not the case. He could cancel Cloak after the Viking comes out.
If you're a Zerg player and then you see Cloak potentially upgrading, but the Viking comes out first, do you think that there still could be a
there are meme builds where this would actually be Raven energy so that it times out so that you could actually get a Raven with the extra energy at the start, but you'd want to think it's a bait, right?
Meme builds.
Yeah, meme builds. Stuff that people don't do. But it is going to be a Banshee to follow this up with. And it's like a weird reverse mind game because you might ask yourself, you're like, well, would he really do that and then get a Viking? Like, doesn't this seem a bit obvious?
They are like countered completely differently, right? If it was a Raven with the energy, then you need more links on the ground to deal with the auto turrets. And if it's a Banshee, well, you need spores. Yeah. Which in this case, I see at least one starting here right now in the production tab.
He's got a lot of damage done out of these queens, and this is going to be important because we have the Banshee coming out, but also the Armory, Todd, which means it's probably going to be a Hellbat transformation to try and just kill him. And if he could pick off one or two of these queens or burn out these transfuses earlier, that's a big win for SpeCial, as he's going to be looking to make this very dedicated attack. Look, the medevac is on the way to follow up.
Knight is starting here.
Speed it across too.
Zanster has had enough. I was talking about adjustments. How about that? He's going to make a ton of roaches and try and kill SpeCial.
SpeCial has no idea this is happening. This doesn't look or feel like it at all. Has he scanned the main base at all? He doesn't know. He's completely oblivious to this. The Banshee could see it.
Oh, he misses everything.
I thought the Banshee was going to attack the front with the army, but because he went straight to the main base, he sees the Nidus. Okay, he knows 100%. There are 3 ways. Home. Yeah, he needs to start Cyclones right now. He has the 2 factories on the way because he's going to go mech. Cyclones are actually extremely powerful at killing these. Look, he cancels the 1 factory because he's like, I don't have enough gas to actually build the second Cyclone. He does a supply drop because he's blocked the Cyclones, take up a lot of supply. The second one finally starts. This is going to be very difficult for him to hold. What he actually needs to do is bring all these Hellions back, transform them into Hellbats right on top of where the Nidus is going to finish, and just try to kill it and insta-gib that before it can pop. And that's exactly what we're going to see. Hopefully he can block where the unload zone is for any units.
Is he about to walk through the gates of hell here? It's going to be a pure barbecue.
This Nidus is dead. Yeah, he's not going to get anything done with this. That was Shrek'd, wrecked, top decked. He's going to try again in a little bit more of an enclosed position, so he will be able to unload, but he bought himself a substantial amount of time.
He's going to be trapped outside.
Yeah. Well, the door is closed. Queens are not known for their proficiency in killing giant rocks.
How is he supposed to get in? He's going to have to attack that. That's going to take a long time. Banshee by then might have Cloak again, and since the Overseer died, there's not going to be detection nearby there.
Nope. With this many Hellbats and the Cyclone support behind it, okay, this is a bit awkward. Is he throwing another Nidus in the back of the main? Yes, he is. This is the money play. The rock thing is just a great distraction, honestly, because he's going to continue to pump out roaches. What really counts is that +1 finishing for the Cyclones, because now the Nidus is under the main, and this is where things are going to get dicey. He can hit him from both sides. He doesn't have to take all the units away from the natural either. And things are just going to get awkward. Things are getting very, very difficult to deal with right now for SpeCial. If he can hold this together, he'll be in a good spot, but he needs to be on his toes.
And that one Viking will be chasing down that Overseer. Zanster unloading units into that other Nidus, attacking the natural base. The Great Reaper here from SpeCial at the last second.
The Cyclone's at +1. There's too many of them. I don't think that this should be able to kill him. With this many Hellbats to tank and the medevac support, he just needs to push down this, break that Nidus, and just look at these Cyclones ripping and tearing into the roaches. He's trying to drop the transfuses. I guess when the Hellbat buffer is killed, he could get to the Cyclones, but the medevac support was amazing here. He trades out 14 SCVs, but he's still ahead in workers, and GG is called a 3-0 victory for SpeCial as he defends the Nidus.
Easy peasy for the Mexican Terran.
snap calls like that are so important and very often missed when you're playing a ladder game and you're just like, well, all I want to do is get to my 3 factories, get my units going. But SpeCial, he made that call, the supply drop while he canceled the factory to get the gas for the Cyclone and start +1 attack because that longevity was so crucial. Just extremely sharp, very smart decision making, and he will advance on. He is on the main stage with Smix. Let's hear his thoughts about that series.
That will do, Nady Poo. Major, first of all, congratulations. Now you've made the round of 8. Now with that round of 8 advancement, you've made at least top 8 in all 3 WCS events, which is an incredible amount of consistency. So how does it feel to have all your hard work pay off with that level of consistency?
It feels good because I've been practicing very hard. So I hope this time I can beat Nib though.
We'll definitely talk about Nib in just a moment, but in terms of this match against Zanster, I was looking at your win rates for the past 3 months, and TVZ seems to be your best win rate. Do you also feel like that's your best matchup, and because of that, were you feeling confident going up against him?
No, I think my best matchup is against Terran, actually. Yes, but there's not many Terrans in tournaments, so it's hard to show it. I think my second is probably TVC, but I think it's around the same as TVP. It's pretty similar, I think.
So going up against Zanster, who's a Swedish Zerg that's been around the scene for a while, did you have any special thoughts going up against him, or did you just figure you'll just do what you normally do in TVZ?
No, I study every opponent I play, so at least a little bit, so I had an idea what he will do. That's why I kind of knew he would Nidus this game, and I kind of knew he would try to pull first on Abyssal. That's why I CV Scout. I try to prepare for the opponent.
Now, let's talk about Nib, because even with this win, you're not smiling very much, and I can't help but feel like it's because you're facing Nib a 3rd time in the playoffs at these WCS events. So what are your initial thoughts knowing that you're going to have to face him again?
I think he's very good, but I think I got a little bit unlucky the last 2 times. I think I can beat him. I don't know. I think this time I can win. I have very good stuff prepared. And my friend's been helping me a lot, so I hope I can prove it.
All right, well, congratulations again, SpeCial, and best of luck in that rematch against Nib. And with that, everything will wrap up here on the main stage. Kalaris, over to you.
Thank you very much, Smix. He has things prepared for Nib as he'll be going up against him in the round of 8. It's going to be a fantastic series later on down the line tomorrow. But it seems to me like SpeCial basically dismembered Zanster in this best of 5, taking the 3-0 quite swiftly and convincingly, Jeff.
This was a bit of a beatdown, this one, and we knew that could be a possibility. SpeCial is, as Rotterdam said last segment, one of the guys that people can reliably pick to potentially win this tournament, which would be really amazing. He's one of the few Terran that are competing on this level. And Zanster, I think Rotterdam broke it down really well, is hit or miss. We've seen some really highs out of him, but this is a bit of that juggernaut. Maybe if he hit some of the other players in a better matchup, a ZvP or something like that, he'd have a better shot. But unfortunately, this is a date with destiny. It was always going to be SpeCial versus Nib. Probe did his best to get in the way of that, and I think he came very close. Zanster did not come close. Zanster ran in the other direction about as fast as you possibly can.
Kind of had to, I suppose, Roddy.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to add. This is a pretty straightforward series, right? I was like, maybe one way. Sometimes, like, SpeCial can get a little funky, and he's like, okay, I'm going to mech it up. I'm going to do some funky stuff. But it really seemed all business this time for SpeCial, and I think he's ready tomorrow. I think that's going to be one hell of a quarterfinals. Zanster still an excellent run, though. Definitely got to give credit there. Walks away with $2,500. Successful tournament for the Swede, which is nice because it's been a while since Zanster had some real tournament success, but it was all major. That's all we can say.
Hoping to see him in Montreal down the line. Let's check in with the bracket and see what has gone on today as well as what is to come tomorrow here for WCS Valencia. We concluded our entire round of 16 today with all the results pouring in as follows. And then from there on out, we remain with 8 players, Jeff. Yeah. And that's a good lineup.
2 ZvZs, a big one. Cyril against True. True of the crafty Korean, Cyril, the unstoppable non-Korean force up there. It seems like he too has a date with destiny in the finals. The Polish people facing off with their 2 kind of alternating champions. Yeah. And then I like the TVP down at the bottom and the TVZ. I think both of those are going to be really, not TVP, the PVZ, excuse me. They're going to be great matchups down there.
Any major surprise results coming out from today for you, Rotterdam, or?
Well, Probe almost. But I think in this run of 16, I mean, if I would have to fill it in at the beginning of the day, I think I would have picked
No, TVZ, yeah.
Maybe I would have picked two
Come on,
matches
but
different. I think I can't call it an upset because it's not an upset.
Right.
But I think I would have personally picked Scarlet over Snoot, but I would have been wrong. Snoot looked very good in that series.
Snoot looked good.
But that's kind of like a 50-50, right? I think that was hard to call. And then in my eyes, what was a minor upset, I'm not going to call it a big upset, but a minor upset is Drogo losing to True. With the way that Drogo looked yesterday and the way that True has looked lately, I think a lot of like the experts, woohoo, we're such experts, would have probably picked Drogo there.
You are.
But it would have been wrong. But other than that, I think Starro winning, Nurcho winning, Eleza winning. Calazur Masters obviously a close one, but I think a pretty straightforward day with maybe one or two series that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Very impressive day number 2 here for WCS Valencia. Tomorrow we crown another champion, or the same champion, depending on what happens here in 2017 in Valencia. A huge thank you for tuning in today, and make sure to tune in same time, same place tomorrow, noon CEST, as we bring you day number 3 of WCS Valencia.